Finances they come and they go, and it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. Let me repeat this. You can be a garbage man or janitor. It's not how much you earn, it's how much you spend. Don't you agree with that, Najee?
Well, of course, because you can spend a lot faster than you earn it. I can tell you that.
Well, most people.
His nose was wide open, man. He started messing with Kim Kardashian, and he had a beautiful little family. I liked his wife and his girlfriend and his little beautiful baby. And then next thing you know, he dumped all of them and started messing with Kim, man. Throwing away all his money on the girl who's already could buy him several times.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Derek Stewart from the DC Stewart Show Podcast with McKinfolk, Isaiah, and Najee. I have to ask you a question. Is the wide receiver position resetting the NFL financial market? Because today, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, according to sources, just signed a $168 million contract plus $120 million guaranteed. Is this going to be the new norm for wide receivers in the league is the question. And is this going to affect the way quarterbacks are paid and running backs are paid, or just technically the whole team? Because they're going to have to look at how they're going to break down all of the numbers with all of the players on the team, especially the skill positions like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, cornerback, defensive line, and the whole 9 yards. I'm really happy for Jaxon Smith. So technically, with this said, we're going to ask the question, Seattle set the new standard. And if that's the case, other teams are going to have to follow, because there are some other teams that are currently in negotiation with their wide receivers. On the flip side of that spectrum, there is rumored allegations and sources saying that Odell Beckham Jr. is undergoing some financial difficulties at this point in time. So we'll actually ask the question, if in fact, indeed, that's true, how did Odell Beckham come to this point in his career when he's made over $90 million and some change? So welcome to the DC Stewart Show Podcast once again. And I am your host, Derek Stewart, along with my kinfolk, Isaiah and Najee. We're back on a Monday morning. It is March 23rd. So Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he set a really good standard, I think, with this contract. And a lot of people, the naysayers, will say, this is not a good standard set. It is a good standard set from my take on it, because here's the thing. The NFL has made a ton of money off of receivers, quarterbacks. Because if you look at how offense is designed now and how the rules have been changed to give the offense an advantage over the defense, more so with hits and things like that, and blocking and things like that.
Yeah.
The wide receiver position is part of what the quarterback does. He's an intricate part of what the quarterback does. So that is not a problem with me. Do you guys have a problem with him making this kind of money?
No,
Standard?
I've never had a problem with players getting paid like this. I've been asking for them to get paid like this. I've been asking for the college level to get paid for many years, because it's due to them, man. When you think about these owners that have so many avenues of making money with their company, with the organization, the players just got that one way, just to be a player. The owners has the parking lots, they got the memorabilia, they got every which way. They got the TV rights money. They got so many ways to have a revenue stream coming in their organization. But the player has that one way to go out there and be the best player they can, and hopefully that'll secure them with a healthy bag for them to, take care of their family and themselves for generations. And, it's been a thing where even last year, DC, we watched in the draft where, the first 3 or 4 teams at least, they were getting linemen. And linemen, if you get drafted in the first round as a lineman, you're getting a big bag. And so it just goes from one aspect of the game to the next, and it's just who need what. And you all know football has that tendency of being in the trenches. If you dominate the trenches, that's where, you're going to have the strategy of winning, because that's where it, evolved. The game evolves right in the trenches with the linemen. But then you got these interior players like the quarterback and the receiver. They the one hype up the game and make it fast. And there's the guys who make it more entertaining. But it don't go without the garbage man. The garbage man's of the trenches with the linemen on both sides of the ball. So we seen them get their money a couple of years ago, but now it don't sway back to the receivers and the quarterback. We thought about the quarterbacks making a big effort a couple of years ago when Mahomes secured that big bag, and then here it is. The receivers' turn. So it's just bouncing from one position to the next. Receivers always can be highest paid or close to it because they make the game speed up. They make it exciting. You go out there and bust an 80-yard run and a touchdown. Man, you got that crowd roaring, and that's what it's all about, to see that game breaking. Remember, DC, when you had those slashy running back like Gale Sayers and Dorsett and Sweetness, Walter Payton, when they used to be game breakers, and Barry Sanders. We don't have like a game now where you have multiple running backs just will bust that thing open and acquire this type of money, So the running backs is the guys who's in the back seat right now. See, because they can be, expendable. You can use the receivers, you can use flankers, you can do everything with a running back. They don't need to be out front like they used to be. So they're not important as they used to be. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Najee this: what happened to the running backs? I mean, how have they been overlooked about this? Is it not beneficial to be a running back anymore in the NFL?
No, just like how Isaiah said that it's just right now is at his point that is the receiver's turn to get his money.
Yep.
Eventually, it's gonna go right back to the running back.
Mhm.
So everybody gotta get their piece of the pie. Right
Yep.
now, nobody's really going out for a running back, because even when Barkley was doing his thing the season before, we still got Derrick Henry. We're not roaring about a running back right now. We're talking about receivers. James Wood, he had a great year with the Bills, and guess what? They only talked about it so much, but guess what? When they talked about Jaxon Smith, when talking about Jamar Chase, and then we had that nasty injury with Tyreek Hill. That's all we're talking about. We're talking about receivers, and we're talking about the quarterback position. That's it.
Mhm.
That's the biggest factor right now that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, Isaiah, do you think receivers are going to be a main target for this upcoming NFL draft in about 4 weeks from now?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody need a game breaker, and the receivers do it. They strike fast, man. They're a game changer. You could be down 2 touchdowns. You get a receiver hit a 30-yard pass and take it to the house, man. And that's what they're looking for. Is a quick fix. You down 2 touchdowns, a receiver is a quick fix, man. When you got a guy who got that speed on the sideline, that's a quick fix. That's what is happening, man. And that's why they paying them, because, man, the receivers, just look at the combine, DC, and you see them guys speedy running down with the record numbers, and that's what's going on.
Consistent 4.2s, 4.3s, right? Yeah, that is impressive to me. I mean, these receivers running these kind of speeds, and you know what? Receivers have been long overdue for a contract like this, because if you look at what receivers were making back in the 80s, even it looks like Jerry Rice was making $2 million per year when he played.
That was
Randy
a killing,
Moss,
though.
right?
But that was a killing for back then, because most of the players was getting under $1 million.
That's true. Looks like Randy Moss was at $8 million per year. Terrell Owens, T.O. was making $9 million per year at the height of his contracts. And Marvin Harrison, who's currently, or actually this is Marvin Harrison Sr., not Jr., he was making $10 million per year. But now you look at the receiver contracts and modern wide receiver contracts.
Double.
$30 million per year for Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, $28 million per year, Justin Jefferson, $35 million per year, and now Jaxon Smith-Njigba at $42 million per year. And then we'll have Puka Nacua and some other receivers' names right after or before Jaxon Smith-Njigba. It depends on how much a team want to pay and how can they structure their salary cap to fit this into future players and players you want to keep around. That's going to be the challenging and tricky part for a lot of owners, I think.
Well, they're going to be squeezing these guys, man, to make that stuff fit, because guys who's on the bubble going to get clinched out of here. I just look at what the Dolphins has done. Man, the Dolphins making some power moves, DC. I don't know whether you and Najee been paying a close attention to the Dolphin organization, man. They clean the clock, and they're setting themselves up, because
Yes,
they
they
got
are.
a lot of draft picks coming, DC, man. I'm talking about back to back to back to back. They got some really big time picks in this draft, man, and the target folks they're trying to get going to restructure this team rapidly. The Dolphins going to be contending big time in the next 2 years. I can see it happening.
You
man,
think so?
yes.
I
That's a very short
kindly
window.
disagree with you that they're going to be doing anything in the next 2 years. I don't see it.
Man, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I told you, man, when you tried to say something about 5 years, it don't happen like that.
I'm not saying 5 years. I think 5 years was stretching it.
Listen to what I'm saying. The Dolphin has gotten rid of every heavy hit type of salary on their team. No matter how good you are.
That's true.
They got rid of everybody.
Very true.
They clean clock, man. They opening space for all of these players coming out. And then they got enormous draft picks, man. You better take it and pay attention to what they're doing. They making some huge power moves, man. Telling you. Yep.
Okay,
They
so
better make sure they draft
that
well.
team
Then
gonna look so much different, man. When this product they gonna
draft
put
well.
on the field, you ain't gonna recognize it because they're gonna have all new faces around there. You had some disgruntled people who thought their job was
the locker room's gonna be completely different.
It's gonna be completely different, man. Dude, they need to change the logo too because they don't change everything else from the head coach down to the top-notch player, man. The face of that franchise is gone. They got a new leadership all the way. The only thing they hadn't changed is the owner, and he already done brought a couple people in too to buy some stock.
All of the goodness that you just named off sounds good, but on paper they're $182 million in dead cap space. That's not going away. That's a credit card debt that they're going to have until they can get these players' salaries off of that dead cap space.
DT, you got to understand what they're doing. They're cleaning clock, but they're going to get all these young players that's going to be cheap, man. They're going to get these guys on the rookie contracts.
True. And that's where it could potentially hurt them on the field as a product. That's where I'm seeing it.
Think about something, guys. They're going to have a fresh, young, cheap team. They're going to have a bunch of young players that's going to gel together because they're all going to be young. They're going to either be first-time players, rookies, or something. They're going to be really, really young players. They got a bunch of draft picks stacked on top of each other, man. You better take a look at it. The Dolphins going to be some contenders soon.
Well, you got to look at their division. I mean, if you look at the AFC East right now, Buffalo isn't going anywhere. And New England isn't going anywhere. So we'll just leave that.
New England definitely going anywhere. Because New England definitely going nowhere.
Well, we're talking about contending, and that's what I think they're going to be able to do.
Because Drake Mays was 23 years old.
They got a lot of folks coming in, brand spanking new, young, talented players.
I think the Dolphins will be competitive. I do agree with you there. But as far as making a severe impact into what they're doing with a new coach and new general manager and having all of these younger players, like you say, coming in, because they do have some really strategic, good draft picks, I think, coming. But will they all gel together quickly enough to be able to be competitive within 2 years to 3 years is what I'm kind of reluctant to.
Well, I'm looking at it for the 3-year mark. I think they're going to set things in place the first 2 years, and that third year is where they're going to be able to make their mark.
I can agree with you there.
Yeah.
I can agree with you there for sure. So with all of that said, the receiver position is here to stay. And like Najee mentioned earlier, some of that will shift back to the running back position. We're just not in the century of running backs. I mean, the running backs back in the 80s, the late 70s and the 80s, and even so up into the 90s were the prime premium contracts that they were getting from these teams. And now a lot of that has shifted because have you noticed how they take running backs now and they'll deal them off in a heartbeat? Because they figure they can get other running backs in to do the job.
Year in and year out, too, DC. That shows you how important they used to be.
Right. So if you look at how they'll let a running back get out of there like, Kenneth Walker III with Seattle. I mean, they let him get out of there because they wanted to go ahead and pay Jaxon Smith-Njigba, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's the only other option I can see. So does this affect these teams in the future for salary cap? It's probably going to affect some teams. I'm not saying all the teams, but it's how they wheel and deal and how they break down their salaries and how they pay certain players and how they're bringing certain players in like free agents and things like that. It's really going to make a huge difference for a lot of teams, Yeah. But since we're on the subject of wide receivers, let's talk a little bit about Odell Beckham Jr., DB. It's been rumored that Odell Beckham Jr. has been going through some financial difficulties. And if in fact that's true, it's really a sad situation, because I saw Odell Beckham Jr. make that catch, which made him ODB, the one-handed catch where he was backing into he was backpedaling into the end zone. The ball came and he grabbed it with one hand and he went down into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was his claim to fame, kind of like when T.O. the catch. That made these guys super, super famous. And with the situation currently as it is, it looks as though he's made $90 million over his $90 million plus over his career. There has been, times where they said he had a fleet of cars and the whole 9 yards. What's your take on that, Isaiah? And if it's in fact true, what do you think happened to Odell Beckham Jr.? Because he does want to play again to start earning an NFL salary again.
Man, he could want to play all he want. He got that Kim curse, man. He started messing with Kim Kardashian and everything went sour. They got that thing with it. He done messed up.
So you're blaming one person for his financial difficulty, right?
Got his nose was wide open, man. He started messing with Kim Kardashian, and he had a beautiful little family. I liked his wife and his girlfriend and his little beautiful baby. And then next thing you know, he dumped all of them and started messing with Kim, man. Throwing away all his money on the girl who's already could buy him several times. It's just crazy. And of course, it's disheartening to me to see him because I know how close he was with his parents. And, he took so many pictures with his loving, beautiful mom and his daddy. They always used to be like a close-knit family. And usually when you have a parent that's that close with your kid, they don't allow something like that to happen to you when you're in financial ruins. But you still your own man and you could control your money, so to speak. But when you get to the point where you mess up 90-something odd $million, there's a lot of things that had to go wrong financially for you to get in that position, man. So
and it's soon.
Sad to see anybody who acquired that kind of money and play that contract out, and then not even 3 or 4 years after your tenure of being in the NFL, you in ruins financially. It just do not make sense to me, no way, shape, or form, because somehow you're supposed to, be shrewd enough to be able to harness your spending and put some of that money away, no matter what the glamour look like. And I don't think freaking a car could break you. You're talking about a car. Let's say he got a Bugatti. Well, Bugatti is what, $2-3 million, but you had $90 million. Where's the 90 million? You only spent 3 million on the Bugatti. Then, of course, you might secure a home for your parents. What kind of home did you buy them? What kind of home it's got to be a lot of tricking going on, man, to be able to throw away all of that kind of money. And this is alleged stuff, what they're saying. But let's say, how in the world can you mess up like that? Because Odell Beckham had endorsements along the way, too. He didn't just get a salary from the NFL. He used to have commercials and things of that sort. So hopefully all of this thing is not right. It's just somebody throwing him up, or he's just trying to restructure some stuff that they used to, when you file bankruptcy, you restructure all of your freaking debt. So he might be doing that. Really not broke, but it's just a game that they play when you're trying to restructure your assets and debt and stuff.
That's a good point. And another thing too, since you mentioned his mom actually managed his career. I don't know for how long, but his mom she helped manage she was his business manager. So I don't know what type of, depth that she had and what type of authority that she had into his finances, which I'm thinking she did have some say into his finances. That was a game changer for him to be able to protect him. And I'm pretty sure Odell Sr. was involved in it too at some point to kind of guide him along the way. That, look, son, don't let all this outside stuff get you to a point where you think you're invincible financially forever, because it's not that way. Finances they come and they go, and it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. Let me repeat this. You can be a garbage man or janitor. It's not how much you earn, it's how much you spend.
Well, of course, because you can spend a lot faster than you earn it. I can tell you that.
Well, most people do. including myself over my career earnings. I've spent more than I'm a perfect example of that. So that speaks volumes right there. Spending really fast, sometimes spending before you even get that next paycheck.
Yeah.
That can put a dent on you.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
where the
like it's
adjustment
like
comes
it's
in.
like when you're on a diet, you have a calorie deficit. When you try to lose weight and you're trying to burn calories, but you could definitely intake calories a whole lot faster than you can burn it. So that's the
Yeah.
same
That's a
way
perfect analogy.
he's spending money he's probably spending money that way. Just like what's my boy that's coming back out of retirement again, Floyd Mayweather. I'm pretty sure the reason why he's coming back to fight is because his spending habits is just impeccable. Like he can't stop. His lifestyle alone, right
Well,
there alone,
when you
he
look
he
at
needs he
him
needs something to
with his
continue
situation,
to bring in money.
But here's
see,
the problem I find with that. Here's the problem I find with that. It doesn't matter how many times you fight. It doesn't matter how many times you come back to play professional football or basketball. You still going to be in the same hole if you don't change your habits.
yeah,
So, for example, Floyd Mayweather Jr., this is who we're speaking about right now. He comes back and fights. That deficit of him spending is not going to go away if he keeps spending the way he's spending. All it does is put a bandage on it temporarily, like to stop the bleeding, and then the bleeding is still bleeding under the bandage, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
I got you.
Well, what he need to do is he's got an entourage, and it's just happening. So a lot of folks who have these big, massive amount of people that they take care of, DC and Najee. I looked at the thing with MC Hammer, and this was when we were young. And I say, how in the world can he sustain this level of spending when you got 100 people on stage? You're doing shows to show. When you don't have a hot album, those people still taken away from you because you got them employed. So you got 100 people on stage. That ain't counting about the staff that's in the office who's setting up everything. Then it's not talking about your relatives, your mom, your siblings and things who you trying to take care of, make sure they're okay. All of this stuff come into factor when you got a freaking private jet and all of this type of stuff. And this is continuous spending. And also the maintenance part of these homes that you have and the aircraft that's got to be maintained and all of this stuff. If you don't have that money constantly coming in, you can have it coming in for a amount of time. Let's say if you got a hot album and that album is hot for a year and a half. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what about if you lay off and not record for 5 years? So you still got that money coming out for those 4 years that you wasn't making any money coming in. You wasn't
Right.
doing shows and stuff. So you is an imbalance right there. And that's what I'm saying about Floyd and the thing that happened to Hammer. Both of those guys roll with a lot of folks because they feel like they need to be in Mayweather's case, he need to be protected because Mayweather is a guy who everybody recognize him. People want to come up and touch him. Some people just don't like him at all. But then he have security to keep people away from him. And those guys don't come cheap, man. If you look at the amount of money that these celebrities pay for security, and he had these big old guys, 6'6", 6'7", 300 and some odd pounds, and he got 6 or 7 or 10 of them guys every day walking around with you. If he want to even go out on a date, he got to bring these guys with him. He want to go out for a stroll on the park with his kids, he got to bring these guys with him. So, man, that's a constant of spending. You got to have that money rolling in all year round. And then, of course, you say he got a big, massive fight come up and he makes several $100 million off of that. But then if you don't fight for another 5 years, that money just dwindle away because you've seen his warehouse is full of everything, every car imaginable. And then the glit and the glamour of the jewelry that he like to wear, and that's what happens to it. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And you know what? We wish Odell Beckham Jr. well. When you play football and when you play professional football, you've gained the highest point in your career. You've climbed the highest mountain and you've gotten to the top of that mountain because millions of people want to play professional football, but they've never made it to professional football over the last 50 plus years, right? I mean, you get X amount of couple of hundred people make it, and then they make it big. I mean, some of them become super famous. Some of them become super productive in the sense that they can compete at that level because it's a different level from college and it's a different level from high school. So when you make it to that point and you can get up there and you can make money and you can earn, I would highly suggest to any professional athlete as a suggestion that what you said about Floyd Mayweather is absolutely true. He might want to reevaluate and reassess some of his security detail because you might not be able to afford all those guys any longer, or some of them. You have to figure out ways to get around things like that, because one thing is for sure, once you promise a person a salary for something like protecting you, that's the salary that they're going to expect. They don't want to hear about you coming in talking about cutting their pay. The only way you get rid of that is you have to completely X out the whole detail and start over again. That's the way I see it. If that's what he wants to do, that's what I would be looking at doing. Now, if you want to try to keep some of them on and continue paying them what you're paying them, it's still going to push you to the brink of being in a financial hole that you might not can dig yourself out, because at some point in time, he's not going to be able to fight anymore.
Yeah.
He could keep these so-called, fights up where he's doing it for show. And
that example of that, DC, is beautiful, what we're talking about. And let me give you a reason why. And all three of us are vigilant of this. The last time you see Mike Tyson, who he had with him? A couple people. That's it.
Thank you.
A couple people. Remember when he was the height of height? He had a huge entourage, DC.
He
Remember
did.
when Tyson was hot? When he was
I
knocking
remember.
guys out right and left, he had a huge entourage with him too, man. All the flunkies and the girls and all the women that he had chasing behind him. Now he's married, he's settled down, and it's got, a few people, a guy who handles his business, and probably one or two guys that's security, but that's it. He don't have no 20, 30 people hanging around him, man, and a big old fleet of people from car to SUVs and Sprinter vans chasing behind him and following him for every little move he make. He don't have that stuff. And that's the expense he shaved off. And that's what Mayweather going to have to reevaluate all of that stuff.
It looks like boxers has always been notorious for that, having bigger groups of people around them wherever they go. I remember a time when I was in a night spot, and this was back during his height, when he was knocking everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people, he wasn't with this crew, but it was like 20 of them, and they showed up, and you could tell they were all, they were involved in boxing. I can spot them a million miles away. And the best thing to do if you're a boxer is you need to cut it in half. You need to cut half your security detail in half. And don't even start out with that many people, because a lot of that was driven by Don King, as far as I'm concerned. From that boxing background that, back to the Ali days and back to the days before Tyson got famous. They ran around with a bunch of people, There's a bunch of people in their camps, and everybody wanted a paycheck. So they were able to help certain people get paychecks, But we wish Odell Beckham Jr. well, and we'll keep everybody abreast of what we're finding out about his situation, because it's all alleged information. But let me just tell you something. Once sources say that, it's somebody in the camp done put that out there. Somebody that's inside your circle.
It's been leaking for a while.
But I'm just saying, in general, for any celebrity, whether they're a boxer, actor, singer, whatever.
There's some smoke coming from somewhere.
There's some smoke coming from somewhere. It's a leak.
Yeah.
It's a leak, just like a faucet drip. Right, Najee? It's just like a faucet. And with people that are closer to you, they make calls. They call and they say, look, he's in trouble. He can't seem to afford to pay for certain things anymore, and that's when the media get a hold of it.
You ready to remember when you filed Chapter 11 or one of these things where you trying to reevaluate your finances? Several people going to find that out. You ain't just doing it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself, because you have to have an attorney involved in it.
And all that stuff is involved, man.
You have to have a lot of different factors and elements involved in helping you get that financial reset that you need, right?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, man.
And it's going to get out there, so you ain't going to be able to keep a lid on it. You're not going to be able to keep a lid on it.
No, you can't. No
so
way.
You get in financial trouble, your business is going to be in the streets, and you're going to wonder how your business got in the streets. And it's a mole in there that's sitting there eating with you every day or walking around with you every day, and they done made the call.
Just think about something, man. Just think about this. You go to the ATM or you go to the Brinks truck, because that's what he like to do. He like to have his money.
He has the Brinks truck bring his money to the house.
But just think about something. Now the Brinks truck not coming no more. Just think about it, man. When you got the Brinks truck coming over to dump it on pallets of money every month or so for the last of the month, and all of a sudden he didn't order no more money to come to the house. What that damn tell you? He's short, man.
It speaks volumes, right?
Yeah, the Brinks truck gonna get pissed because he say, "Damn, man, we ain't going over to Mayweather house this month." Man, he's supposed to be
Where the
ordering
party
another
at?
pallet.
There ain't no more parties, right? Or there's not as many of them as it used to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. Because I remember they were showing that he was being like escorted and everything. When he was going to the bank to go get the money, that job's crazy, man. I don't know how you even comfortable to walk around with that heavy amount of money on you all the time. I don't care what type of security you have.
Listen, house, the Brinks truck coming to the house.
Coming to the house with a pallet.
And people done seen that Brinks truck pull up in your driveway. I mean, they have gates. You can't see their home from the street.
Yeah.
A lot of them, but they still see the Brinks truck go through the open gate into your property. And that you ain't nothing but a sitting target. Trust me. You're sitting target for a home invasion robbery or when you're gone. They'll come in there.
Not only that, bro. When you got that kind of money sitting around, don't think for a split second that these security guys ain't touching you too, man. Them guys ain't loyal, man. You got stacks of money stacked all over the house, man. You can't even freaking keep up with it. And you go down there to the pool and you're going to lay back and have a drink and lay by the pool and relax, and the damn security guy and the stuff in his bag, his Louis bag.
That would be hilarious to catch someone doing that, right?
And he ain't gonna be able. He won't even miss it either, bro.
Absolutely.
He won't even miss it when you got all that stuff, man, happening like that. That's crazy.
So Najee, what's cracking? What's crackulating in the NBA? What's big news in the NBA right now?
You know, most teams got about 10 or 11 games left in the season, but we have quite a few injuries that's concerning, especially when we talk about the top teams. You do have Jalen Williams that's coming back tonight to go for the OKC Thunder. They're gonna go play against the 76ers. So of course they don't need him to play heavy minutes because they're on their 11 or 12 game winning streak anyway since Shea came back from his injury. You have Cunningham. He had the collapsed lung. That was kind of crazy to hear. I thought he got an accident or something for you to have a collapsed lung. He's 22, he's like 23, 24 years old. He's going to have a collapsed lung. But they say he's doing well, that he's going to take a couple of weeks off to get his health back. You have Anthony Edwards. He's dealing with a sore knee right now. They need him, even though they won last night against the Celtics, which I was surprised. I watched that whole game because they were getting their behinds kicked. He's going to come back. I'm hoping that he could come back within the last week of the season because they do play the Orlando Magic. I want to see that. I want to see him playing in person. Oh man, who else?
Is that game gonna be played?
It's gonna be in Orlando.
Is it what week? Because maybe I might run up there and go to the game with you.
Let me check right quick. But it's definitely gonna be in April though.
Maybe I might meet you over there. That would be a good thing, DC. We fly over there.
It's gonna be April.
Which is it a weekend game?
No, it's gonna be like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Still might run over there. I might run over there and hang out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Wednesday. Between those, you got a lot of teams that's playing proceedings right now, especially between between like 3 and 7 for the West. They're literally a game or game and a half away from each other. So that every game counts right now at this point. Every game counts. And you have we had Luka. He had a 16 tech against the Magic in that game winner they had, but they rescinded. So he's going to be able to play tonight against the Pistons without Cunningham. So we're going to see how that game is played out. But as much as Luka complained to the officials, like every time when he do even get a foul, he still complain. That I know that has to be welling on the officials every time. Like, bro,
Absolutely.
he gets the most fouls called.
Yeah, go his
in
way.
The league. In the league, and he still complains every game. And I watch, and any televised Lakers game that plays, I watch it. And now I'm like, bro, like you went to the line 13
times already. That's a strategy, though.
That's
a strategy that he uses. He uses a strategy. I mean, that's a strategy to get in the head.
I understand that. But just think about it. As a star player, if you're playing between 33 to 38 minutes, so let's say you play 38 minutes, you break that down in 4 quarters, you're playing freaking Now, almost you playing about 9 minutes a quarter, bro. 9.5 minutes a quarter. So out of 9.5 minutes per quarter out of 12, you got somebody's complaining all game, man.
Well, that's strategic, and let me tell you why. Because if you're gonna stick him hard, consciously in your own mind, you can't get too close to him, and that give him
Yeah.
the advantage because he know he gonna whine and cry to the officials that you bumped him or you did something to him. So that means he can go full fledged at your behind. So it's
Yeah.
just like somewhat of what LeBron does. When you put your fingertip on this guy, he storms the other way just like you put a forearm on it. I mean, he's
Yep.
always dramatically showing you that you did much more than what really, really happened. So you question your own damn eyeballs. Did he get hit that hard? Because he gonna
Well,
rat you out.
Magic Johnson was pretty good at that too. When he'd get fouled, he'd go down like like somebody done just swung on him,
Oh man, I almost out for the count. I mean, some of the times I thought they was gonna wake LeBron up with some smelling salt. The way he fell and hit that court, man.
Yeah,
That dude
yeah.
was dramatic, and he would get up and start pointing at. If he didn't get that call, he was acting as if the ref ain't need to be. You don't even need this job if you can't call this thing, man. Get out of here. And
Yeah.
that was a strategic move on this behalf because think about it, man. If you're gonna be D'ing him up and you touch him, you got to give him his space. That's what he's begging for, to give him his space. That way he can go in there and do anything he wants. Because you're not sticking him as hard as you were because you were too afraid that he's going to whine. And 90% of the time, you get those calls too. So, and if you get those calls, say for instance, otherwise he would have missed the shot. What it do? Put him on the line. Put him on the
That's
line.
right.
He guaranteed those damn 2 free throws. And most of the time he make them. He might, every now and then he'll miss one. And that's every now and then. But if you put him on that line, that means he's calculating points on you, man. And he do that game out, game in. He's doing it. That was part of his game, and it was strong because of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's shift over to the Sweet 16, or actually the Elite 8 now, because it looks like 8 teams have advanced, or at least 8 teams have advanced to the Elite 8. And I'm looking at the bracket right here, and this is for college basketball, and we'll cover this really quickly. It looks like Duke and St. John's is going to be facing off against each other from the East. It looks like Michigan State and UConn is going to be facing off against each other at the bottom of that bracket for that side of the field. And then if you look at the other side of the field, you got Arizona and Arkansas, and you have Texas and Purdue, because it looked like University of Miami advanced to the Sweet 16, and they got beat by Purdue 79-69, which was a 10-point victory for them, which is, to me, is impressive for the University of Miami to get that far in the tournament.
You got a great season.
Hat off to them, and we're proud of them. Haji, I'm going to ask you a question, because here's the deal. Looks like Duke is always an elite team, which they've been that way for the last 40 years that I can remember, when Krzyzewski
in basketball.
Yeah, in basketball. St. John's have kind of made a comeback, because St. John's used to be really solid in the 80s, and then they ran into some problems, because Mark Jackson played guard for St. John back in the day. Most people don't realize that because it's a younger generation. And then you have UConn, which Hurley's brother, Dan Hurley, is the head coach, and they've been the champions a couple of times. And then you have Michigan State, which they're kind of back on the scene as well. Who do you see in the Final Four? I'm going to start with Najee, and then I'm going to ask Isaiah.
In the Final Four, I like Duke, Michigan, what else? Purdue, and Arizona. That's what I like.
How about you, Isaiah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to just predict Purdue going to win it all, man, because the way they played University of Miami was on a hot streak, man. And for them to take them down 10 points, I think they might just capture the whole thing. Because
they were seeded at number 2. I mean, they look sharp. They really do look sharp. Now, can they get by Texas? That's going to be interesting, because they were like 11th. They were 11th, and it looks like Purdue is facing off against Texas. And if Purdue get past that one, I agree. I think they're going to be the team to beat from that side of the bracket. as well. And I always get interested in Sweet 16 on down the Elite Eight to Final Four to the championship. I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I do like the tournament. And what we should do next year, I think, for next year's tournament, we need to submit our own brackets on who we think it can get there, and talk about it on this show. I think that would be very important for us to do as well. So you're currently watching the DC Stewart Show podcast featuring Isaiah and Najee, and real talk, real debate, no ESPN scripts. We getting down to the nitty gritty, to the science. So we'll go ahead and end this show. We're going to have Isaiah, chime in and let us know what he thinks is going to happen upcoming NFL draft, and then we'll close the show out.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for chiming in and watching us, man. It's been beautiful, man. We hitting some heights and plateaus that, coming pretty rapidly for us, and folks are showing some love. They're showing us that they like what we're doing. But yeah, man, the NFL is going to be interesting, DC. We're going to cover that on the draft night. My Dolphins got so much to look forward to. The fans here in South Florida need to get hyped about it. I see some interesting strategic moves that they're making from the top down to the bottom. And we had some sad faces last week. Guys getting shifted off to other teams, and they thought they was going to have some long life career ending situation here, staying here for their whole entire career. And it's about a business, man. And they gotta realize that. Some of them going on teams that probably gonna win them a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. But then they love the city, and they was embedded here, and it just wasn't no personal thing. It was a business move that the Dolphins are making. But on the flip side of that, I want to thank everybody again for watching. You guys take care of yourself. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening around the globe. So make sure you guys tell your friends, your family, and your coworkers that you love them. And if you do, and say it as much as you can. We can't tell what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next. Yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Najee?
Peace and blessing, love God, because He's definitely gonna love you. Yeah, piggybacking with what Isaiah said, because just it can happen any moment, anytime, any second. Later on the day, tomorrow, next week, later on the weekend, it doesn't matter, because death doesn't have an expiration date. At least not to us, but He has it for us, but we just don't know. But yeah, even with the traveling situation, you got a lot of people that's trying to travel.
Yeah.
And I would suggest to decide where you're going to travel, because a lot of people are not able to come back to the States right now, or it's a hassle because of our leader of the country, had the way he's leading things, and he's making enemies. Try to give it well thought of where you're going, because I see a lot of people that want to go past Iran and the Iran area, and I don't think that's the best thing to do. So if anything, try to keep it more local within the country, or maybe even the Caribbean, But other than that, just peace and love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, what I was going to say, it's just a backup with the airports. I think with not having TSA being funded right now, that's another consideration, just to relax right now, and just if you can stay put for a while. I don't want to get in the political game because it's just so twisted right now, but just
it's very sensitive right now.
Yeah, so
very sensitive subject.
That's what I'm looking forward to, just to have a peaceful moment. People need to just think about how we can just interact with each other without hostility. Yeah,
absolutely. That's so well said from the both of you guys, because we're all humans. We all need to figure out a way to be tolerant and get along with each other. No matter how much you might not know this person, you might not even like a certain person or persons, but you need to show respect and show that if that person's presence, at least display some cordiality where you're showing respect, and that'll take you a million miles. Trust me. When you greet people and say hello to people, even sometimes, it breaks the ice, because the other person might have made a preconceived notion about you, or you might have made a preconceived notion about them. And it's altogether different when you break that ice with another human being, because we're all human. Help each other, take care of each other, because that's what this is all about. We'll close the show, but never our hearts, to our family and our viewers and all of the people that matter to us at the DC Stewart Show Podcast. along with McKinfolk, Isaiah, and Najee. We'll do this thing again soon. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health and spirits, mental spirits, peace, love, and prosperity. Take it easy. See you soon.
You've reached the end of another episode of the DC Stewart Sports Talk Podcast. Be sure to connect with us at Facebook and Twitter.com. Your voice is important, so head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Catch our next episode.